Morning, everybody. Here we are, Saturday morning, late April on the ranch. For the last year and a half since we moved in, the septic system has been an issue here, and occasionally it just stops working. For some reason, it seems to be in the winter. Our first thought, of course, was freezing, because it does get down to about minus 25 Celsius here once a week or so during the winter, usually December from what we've seen. But we did a bunch of testing and we figured out that freezing is not the issue. At least not in the septic system itself, the pumps and everything. But so what we're doing today is, in the last couple days, is unburying our septic system. So let me turn the camera around here and give you an overview of what that means. So house is up there, a line comes down here, goes to this holding tank, which is, I don't know, 5,000 liters or something? More than that, probably. It's a very large concrete tank. So the stuff we flush down the toilet goes in there, and the bacteria work on it, and actually comes out as more or less gray water. And then it goes into this round tank here, which is the pump tank that I've got my cases sitting on. There's a half horsepower pump in there and a float switch. Once that gets filled up to a certain level, it kicks the pump on. Then it goes out a line down there underneath that green cover, kind of down to this valve box, and the valve box has 7 valves in it. So it goes from 1 line to 7 lines, and then it continues down this trench that we've excavated. And then if I can walk down here without falling, there's 90s in each line. So you can only see a couple lines here. We haven't unburied them all, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 from here. And then you can see that there's a 90 here, which we've broken. And then it continues all the way along about an 85 foot, 3-ish feet deep trench. So there's 7 lines and 7 trenches. And we've excavated almost all the trenches. So we've borrowed or had loaned to us a mini excavator. And so that took about a day and a half to excavate these using the mini excavator, because I had never run a mini excavator before. So trying to learn the mini excavator and get down to the PVC without breaking the PVC was quite a challenge. So it was a slow process. So there's supposed to be a 3/16 hole every 5 feet along these. These are called laterals. So there's supposed to be a 3/16 hole, just teeny little hole every 5 feet along here. When we powered the system up after we dug the first line out, this is the 7th, first line's closest to the house up there. We dug the first line out, powered the system up, the pump up, and only one of the holes was emitting any fluid. So one of 2 things is happening here. Either the ground is saturated after 20 years of being a septic field, or the holes are plugged and the fluid just can't get out at a reasonable rate or at all into the ground. Based on what we've seen and some perk tests we've done, we don't think it's the former. We think it's the latter. So we think the holes are plugged because it's never been flushed from what we can see. Down at the ends, there's a 45 that goes up about 1.5 feet. So it's a 45 degree, and then a piece of pipe that goes up about 1.5 feet, 2 feet, and it's got a threaded cap on it. And that was 1.5 feet under the ground, so not accessible. So small wonders it has never been flushed before. So you can see that there's gravel underneath the pipe. In this particular spot here, there's quite a bit of gravel. In many spots, there's very little gravel. The gravel helps, of course, disperse. It's drain rock, so it's 3/4 inch, 1 inch drain rock. Helps disperse the fluid, and so it's not just sitting there puddled underneath the PVC line. So what we need to do is add more drain rock, more gravel, because there's very little there. So we need to do a few things. We're going to use the Sawzall here, the reciprocating saw, and cut the line here close to the 45. Close to this 90. We're going to cut it there. It's just going to be a lot easier to pull the line out and do the work of finding all these little holes and cleaning them and flushing it on the lawn, as opposed to trying to do it all in the ditch. It's going to be muddy and yucky. So we'll just go to the hardware store later and pick up a bunch of female to female joiners, just PVC pipes, so that and some glue, and away we go. So that's our goal today, is to get these out and the holes cleaned and the lines flushed. Today's Saturday, we have gravel coming on Monday. So the pipes are going to stay out of the ground until Monday. They're going to dump the gravel probably in the field somewhere here, and then we're going to use our skid steer to pour the gravel in all the way along, put the pipe back down, and then use the skid steer or the excavator to backfill all this, and then we continue that all the way up. So the one kicker to this whole process is that some of these lines are supposed to be 7 feet apart, but some of them are a lot more and some of them are a little bit less. So you'll notice this one, for example, we have not excavated a trench there. And the reason for that is we just didn't have enough room to put the skid steer there, and I'm sorry, not the skid steer, the mini excavator, to straddle that with the mini excavator and then have somewhere to put the dirt. So you can see we did both lines here, and the dirt's kind of falling in on each side, so that's about the max we can go. So we actually have 2 lines, so we got one there, so number 2 and number 5 we have not done. So after we do this whole process with lines 7, 6, 4, 3, and 1, then we have to go back to the beginning and do it for lines 2 and 5. Dig up the whole trench, pull the pipes out, gravel, backfill. So we're going to be at this for a while. So here we go, day 3. Okay, here we are about 45 minutes later, and we've got all the pipes pulled out of the ditch, out of the ditches, I guess. And we've got them laid down on our field, which has quite a slope, so we've got them all laid out here. And so we're just going through the process of flushing them. So we cut the ends off, the ends at the 45 off the far end that Holly's at, and Lucy's down there too, I see. Hi Lucy, cat. And then we flushed them out so we weren't working with yucky stuff. Okay, so we've got our garden hose running into this. We were cleaning them out, flushing them out and cleaning them, but we thought we'd do a before and after to see. So there's a hole right there. They've got it nicely circled with a Sharpie, the installer did. So using a piece of wire here to flush it out, and then we got what looks to be a nice sprinkler. Okay, so we've cleared them all, and we're just doing another check real quick here to make sure they're all still working. Holly's graciously holding the ends for us, and that's how it should look. Morning everybody. So here we are Monday morning. It's about 7:30, 7:20 in the morning, and we've got all our trenches dug and our pipes cleaned out now, and now we get new gravel. So we have the guys here to give us about 7 or 8 yards of 3/4 inch, 1 inch drain rock. So he's just gonna put it to the left of the stump there. So this is a stone slinger. We couldn't get a dump truck in here, so the slinger is just a really cool way of moving the gravel in. Otherwise we would have had to dump it way back up by Henry's pen way up there, and then I would have been going in and out with the skid steer all day long. So this is gonna save a ton of time just driving around, and they didn't even charge us extra for it, so it's a lot of fun to watch. The horses aren't a fan. All right, so we got about 8 yards of drain rock, and we've dumped one into the first trench now. So this is what it ends up looking like. An extra couple inches of gravel down there. So now we're just cleaning off the ends of the pipes and about to glue first one on, and then we will backfill this one and continue with the next trench to the left, number 6. And fortunately it stopped raining. A nice cool day, so perfect for this work. So here's the final result. We still have to level the field a bit more and then put down some grass seed. But you can see we've got a couple of monitoring test points in there, some 4-inch PVC that's buried down to the level of the gravel right beside one of the laterals. So we've got kind of one 1/3 way down the field and another one 2/3 of the way over to kind of give us an even test point. So here are down at the end of the lines, and where there was once a flush out fixture 1.5 feet down, we increased the height of it, and then, oh, there's a little mouse. Hello, mouse. Not funny. And then there's the threaded cap there that we can use to flush it out. What we've done is made we've made a pipe that comes up from that, so it's got a male thread on the end. So it'll come up about 1 foot and then has a right angle in it to go out towards the our drainage ditch there. So when we do flushing, we'll just screw that adapter on to the part that comes up, and then just put a drain hose with a clamp on it, like a 2-inch drain hose, and then it'll go out to the ditch for the few seconds per line that we've got it flushing once a year or so. So we'll just screw the adapter on, flush it, and screw it off, and you can see there's these are all the way up the field. Other than a little bit of landscaping, this is pretty much the finished product. It's been a lot of work. It probably took us I don't know, 60 or 80 hours to do this all, primarily because we'd never done it before and we made a lot of mistakes figuring out stuff, but here we are now, all finished, and it's been running actually for a couple weeks, and it seems to be working fine, so we had no issues at all. Yeah, so other than landscaping, we're basically done. Hopefully that helps you in some way. Thanks for watching.